I also have in attendance Ron Caponera, PJ Keeler, Mike Chimides, Kathy Eldridge, Patrice Perry, Kelly Simmons, Miller Simmons, Linda Mussman, Supervisor Mia, Oswaldo Rossetti, Supervisor Benvenuto, and Supervisor Metler. Who am I missing?
Ken Dow.
Ken Dow. Who else?
Kevin McDonald.
Kevin McDonald.
Dean Knott.
Dean Knott.
Oh.
Who else do I have?
Patsy Rader.
Patsy.
Rob Lopez.
Rob Lopez.
Denal Collins.
I see it all. Okay, anybody else?
Suzette Boy.
Thanks, Suzette. Is that it? All right. Chairman Guzzi, if you want to go ahead.
Yes, we'll get started. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call to order the April 23rd, 3:30 p.m. Finance Committee. And I know we have committee, department heads, and board members on, and we're totally fine with anyone jumping in. The biggest thing we'd have to do is when the vote comes, the only one that could really vote would be Finance Committee members. Other than that, we're definitely interested in listening to everyone who has anything to add to the resolution. So we're going to get started first with the Health and Human Services resolution. There's one resolution. And that resolution is authorization for the AFA to accept funding from New York State OFA for the purpose of providing COVID-19 related assistance and services for seniors. And Kevin McDonald, you did a good job on this. And I don't know if you wanted to jump in on this, or Ron Campanaro or PJ, to give us a little bit more background on it.
Yeah, we were notified late last week that I guess the state is receiving some stimulus money from the feds, and whatever they used a special type formula, and it looks like we're going to get about $250,000. We've received, I think about 45,000 so far, or that's what we're supposed to receive by the end of this week. And like I said, we've got a number of things that we're planning on using this money for. So we're kind of pleased that we're getting it, and hopefully it'll help the county out quite a bit too, as far as not having. There's no match to this. It's all federal money. So like I said, we've worked with Ron. As I know, my finance guy has worked with Ron Caponero as far as setting up an expense account and a receivable account. So, we're eager to start using some of this money.
Kevin, did a good job on this, and it's actually good to see some money finally come in rather than go out.
Right.
Hey, Kevin, this is PJ. Can I just have a question? We received about 45,000 from the Empire State Development that we have not been able to trace. Is that yours?
That's probably ours, yeah, because they said they went directly to the treasurer's offices with them.
All right. Well, having a hard time tracking it down. So do me a favor, just get in touch with Michelle and just let her know that. And if there's anything else you see coming through, please, so we can.
Okay. Where did they say? How did they designate that, PJ? Empire State.
Empire State Development.
Okay. Okay, I'll get Ken working on that tomorrow.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Kevin, this is Ron. I spoke to Brian McDonald about trying to get some of this funding for the freezer.
Yep, absolutely. I think I'm quite sure we can use that. I think we can also use it for, I guess, something. They just had a major repair out to the kitchen.
Yep.
Okay, and we're going to try to use it for that too.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, were you guys thinking about renting this freezer, or are we actually, it may be beneficial just to purchase that, because those freezers.
No, that's what we're talking about, purchasing it.
Jimmy, I get prices on a new walk-in.
Good. And that's a modular, right? We can just break that down and move it.
Yes.
Good.
And if I have a further question for Ron, since there's state of emergencies on both the federal, county, and state, do we still have to go follow the the bidding process on this? Because
No,
we'd love to buy it from somebody local to keep the money right here in the county.
We can use our emergency policy procedure. That's
Okay,
it's in the manual.
okay, good, thank you.
Okay, very good. I'd like to ask, is there anyone else?
I have a
that has
question.
questions? Go ahead.
Am I on?
Yes.
Yes.
Kevin, do we anticipate using all of this for current programs or items that we need presently, or is this potentially going to be used to do other things?
It's all got to be COVID related.
All COVID related. Okay.
It's got to be COVID related.
And the other
And
question,
we'll stretch that, and we can stretch that as far as we can, hopefully.
the other question is the individual that brought you the pans that I know, did
Right.
you take the walk-in cooler with him by any chance?
No, we didn't. Nope.
Because
Like I said, this all came up just last week when we
Okay.
found out we were getting this money.
if you need any help with that, let me know. But he's right in Pittsfield, and he's a big restaurant supply distributor, and he's willing to help us in the county
Okay.
because he has a lot of ties to the county. So just let me know. Ron, you the same. If you need any help, let me know.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else anyone else wants to any discussion on this? If
Glad to
not-
make a motion to approve.
Yeah,
Second.
I need a motion to approve this.
You have one from Ron, you have a
Okay.
seconded by Matt
And
Morrell,
Then a second.
from Matt.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Opposed?
can I just interrupt for 1 second, Jim? I
Yes.
just want to remind everybody, if they could just mute and mute their phones or their computers until they want to talk and then unmute themselves, because there is some background feedback and everything. And also, this is being live streamed on YouTube as well, just so you folks know, to the public, okay?
Okay,
All right, thanks, sorry.
no problem. So we're going to move on to public safety resolution number 2 has been pulled. That's almost up, so there's no sense of even bothering with that one. We're going to move to county government next, resolution number 3. And that is the purchase of a Riccio Pro 8300S copier printer using grant funds from the Aid to Localities grant. This is a savings of around $20,000. I think last year we ran into an issue where we had to go out and pay to have these ballots printed, and I think we had a cost of around $20,000 if I'm correct. And the purchase price.
25,000.
Excuse me.
25,000.
25,000. Okay. And the
Okay.
purchase price of this is $24,115. So it's probably one of those that we may need to just get through, because if we run into issues, this could wind up costing us more. Does anyone have any discussion on this? Or do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll
Okay,
second. it.
second?
But I do have a question.
Yes.
Ron, did we look into purchase versus leasing?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, it's much better off to purchase this piece of equipment. It's going to last. The other one we bought was 2012. We bought it. It'll pay for itself probably about 5 to 6 times over. So
Okay, I'm good.
that's about it.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We're going to move on to resolution number 4.
Sorry, guys.
Resolution number 4 is authorization to create and fill 1 deputy election commissioner. Due to retirement of 1 deputy election commissioner effective April 1st, 2020, there is a need to create and fill 1 deputy election commissioner, Republican, to train and learn the role effective February 3rd, 2020. As of April 1st, 2020, this second position will be abolished.
Retired.
Excuse me?
Jimmy, I just wanted to mention too that this is Deneen that had been full-time in Kelly's office, and we moved her to Board of Elections after Kathy Harder retired, and now filled that position with a part-timer. So in essence, we've cut back a little bit on the total project.
Well,
Okay.
and we need to fill it based on the fact that we have to have corresponding positions with with both parties. So if we have a deputy in the Democratic side, you have to have a deputy in the Republican side.
Okay.
I'll move it. Ray stats.
Second, Fury.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We will move on next to resolution number 5. This again is still in county government. This is authorization, permission for the MIS department to fill a temporary computer service specialist position in response to COVID-19. So just a couple of questions quick on this one. We should be able to get FEMA reimbursement on that, Ron, is that correct? Or PJ?
In
Yes.
the resolution, Jim, it says that it's going to be submitted to FEMA for reimbursement.
Okay, so we would be able to get that. And the only thing I didn't see here is this going to be a 3-month, it says temporary, but what does temporary mean? How long time frame would that be?
Up to 90 days.
Okay, so this would be a 90-day fill, correct?
Yep.
Okay,
It's already filled, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
okay. So does anyone have any other discussion on this?
I'll move it. Ray stats.
Second, Sterling.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. All right, resolution number 6. Authorization to contract with System Development Group, Inc. for ImageMat Online Parcel History and ImageMate GLS Cloud Viewer Extension Software for Real Property Tax Service Agency. This cost is $5,100 annually. And does anyone have any discussion on this, or do I have a committee chair on this that could explain a little more about this?
You have Suzette on.
I'm, the director of real properties, Suzette, and I'm making this request. It's an annual request, but this is to display the assessment roll data and the inventory data online. We are required by real property tax law to have the assessment roll data online. And we've been using this company to do that since 2010. The price as far as for that data has remained the same. This year, more so than any other year, it's going to be extremely important to have that data online for property owners that may want to go through the grievance process.
Okay, thank you, Suzette.
Mhm.
Is there anyone else has any discussion on this or ask any questions?
I'll just say it's an excellent program. Very easy
Yes.
to use.
Yes,
User
it is.
friendly.
Yep. Fury will move it.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So we'll move on to resolution number 7. And this is where authorization to amend the resolution to enter an agreement with the town of Chatham. I guess we're just going to basically amend that town reevaluation agreement. Any other
Right.
questions?
This is Suzette again, and
Yes.
these 2 resolutions, one for Chatham and one for Ghent, because of the project that we're currently working in, the town of Claverick, has been delayed as far as being able to go out and do data verification in the field, going to people's homes. Because of the situation that we're in, we haven't been able to do that. So we've been doing aerial view, but it does slow the process up. And both towns have agreed to delay their revaluation projects to 2022 for completion in that year. And these 2 towns, it was important to keep them together because they do share a village between them. They share the village of Chatham, which is split between both Chatham and Ghent. So we wanted to keep them together and have their project completed in the same year.
Oh, yeah, we have 2 resolutions here, yes. Yeah.
I'll move them both.
Okay, resolution number 7 and number 8. We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
I'll
Richard.
second. Ray stats.
All in favor? Motion
Aye.
second.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We're going to, excuse me?
That was number 8. I just wanted to show everybody number 8 for Ghent.
Okay. Okay. Resolution number 9, appointment, 2 non-voting agency representative members to the Columbia County Environmental Management Council.
Patrice
That is
is on
Tara-
if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, Tara Becker and Jack Mabb.
Yeah, that's a reappointment. Both of them have served on the EMC for a number of years, and they have very valuable input from different perspectives. And they're both supported by the health department, and then Teresa by the Cornell Cooperative Extension.
Yeah, very good.
Fury will move it.
Okay, I have a motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Patrice.
Okay, we're going to move on now to resolution number 10, which is authorization for the farmer's market to use the parking lot of 560 Warren Street. Does anyone have anything on this one that they'd like to add or discuss?
I'd just like to say that we asked them to provide a social distancing plan.
Yep.
And which they've provided, and the county attorney's office had asked them to provide other information. So they met all the requirements in terms of what we had asked them to do.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone else have any additions to this, to add to this, or questions?
Yeah, I just want to thank the chairman for helping make this possible, Lynn Mussman here. Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion?
I'll move it. Fury.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Did you get both of those, Kelly?
Yep, I got it.
Okay, great. So we'll move on to highway right now. Resolution number 11. And that is authorization to declare the following vehicle surplus equipment and to sell it in our line auction. Highway number 3, 2001 International dump truck. And Ron, did you talk to them, because we did drop a few trucks? Is this something that they still want to go ahead and surplus out at this point?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I'll move that, Ray Stats.
Okay, we have a motion. Second?
Second, Scalera.
Okay. Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So we're going to move on to resolution number 12. And before we get into this, I question if this is something from a standpoint of finance and cash flow that we should be doing right now, or hold this off for 30 days. There's 2 of them here, actually. There's resolution number 12, which is $934,000, and that is a resolution authorizing the chairman of the Columbia County Board of Supervisors to award and execute a contract for the reconstruction of the Columbia County's Airport North apron ramp to the lowest responsible bidder, A. Colarusso and Sons, for $934,470,000. Now, we are, FAA does, I believe, do a big percentage of this, the ratios. It's ratio 90% federal, 5% New York, and 5% us. The problem is that when these bills have to be paid for prior, and that again pushes us into a cash flow issue. So I'm going to ask Ronnie Knott. Ron, if you can, you talked with Dean, and Dean, I know you're on. If you guys want to share a little bit of this information for us, if we can hold off 30 days, would that in any way hurt the project or put us in jeopardy? You guys jump in on this, please.
Yeah, sure, Jimmy. This is Ron Knott, and then I'll let Dean give you some details. But these are important projects. They are typically 90% federally funded with the FAA, 5% state, 5% county. These resolutions would, allow Dean to move into a contract with the FAA before we would actually sign a contract with the contractor as well too. So it's still a ways out, but holding them for 30 days isn't a problem at all right now, I don't believe. Anybody can weigh in on Dean. Dean has also brought it to my attention that through the federal stimulus plan that's been offered, you know, the feds are considering paying the local shares of these grants. I don't know if Dean's got anything new on that since I talked to him last week, but I certainly would make a motion to hold these for 30 days anyway.
Yeah, then we can,
that's,
go ahead.
That's correct. The fact that you hold them for 30 days is not going to be a problem. We wouldn't execute these contracts until we got a grant offer. In the verbiage of the resolutions, it says it's pending issuance of a federal grant. And the stimulus, the first stimulus one, the CARES Act, does provide for 100% funding of any of these federal construction grants in federal fiscal year 2020, which is this year. So if we waited to do them next year, we'll be back to providing 5% for each of these projects. So it would behoove us to take advantage of it this year because they won't offer it next year. But holding it 30 days is probably not an issue.
Dean, thank you. And Rob, the thing that our concern right now is we're trying to see where we're going to be, test the waters in 30 days and see where our cash flow will be, which will probably be worse. But anyway, maybe that can give us a better handle on to take a chance on something like this, that we have to come up with the money is our biggest concern. So 30 days would help.
Sure. Yep.
I've got a question about this. Like, when we go ahead, like this would be done this summer, can we start right away once we give the approval? Because I would like to be able to get the whole thing paid for and do it in 2020 if possible.
Yeah. These would be able to be done right up until the end of the year, probably, except for the paving of the north apron. That would probably have to happen no later than November. Project and go on later in the year. So we have plenty of time to get these done.
Ron, could you give us a little bit of Campanero? Can you give me a little background on like when these bills go out, how we're paid, what the time frame and all that stuff is in relation to cash flow?
Yeah, PJ, you're probably better on that.
Or PJ, either one.
Yep, sure. I'd be glad to take that. Basically, anything that comes from the FAA, usually the turnaround time is like 30 days. They're very, very quick historically. I'll repeat that, historically. Again, one of my concerns, and I know we've got some others coming up, is that right now we do have cash for these. I worry that if we wait too long, and I'm not opposed to putting it off for 30 days, but if we start putting this work out and it's not done until September, October, and we find out that cash is in a terrible position, is that we may have difficulty paying up front for these in November and December, especially. As far as cash flow goes, December, January are our absolute worst times of the year. So let's not put it off for more than 30 days. Hopefully we can be able to come up with some projections. And again, it's going to be tough.
Okay, thank you.
I'd rather do it now. I'd rather do it now and get started because it's going to take a couple of months even to get contracts and even get started with the end of April here now.
Well, it's not that we can't start it now. We could ask to start it now, but again, I'm still concerned about cash flow on these things. And, you know, what are we going to do if this is going to get worse? This is $2 million here. We're going to have to put quite a bit of money out, and hopefully we can get it back in a reasonable amount of time. I know your concern is the timing of it, correct, PJ?
Yeah, but you know, let's put it off 30 days. I agree with you. By the next finance committee meeting, I'll have cash flow projections. We're working on a $12 million deficit as well as a $6 million deficit, providing we can make up the other $6 million that we've talked about previously. And that will show us approximately where our cash deficits are going to take place from a historical perspective. And we'll be able to look at that, and maybe we can do that first before we make some of these decisions. How's that?
Okay.
I'm more comfortable with that. The other thing is that I know we have a couple of other things that are in the pipeline right now, And I think we maybe got to prioritize some of these things also. You know?
Also, this Mike Benvenuto, just food for thought, and Dean or Ron can speak to this, but I think we're also looking at Columbia County is supposed to get $69,000 through the federal CARES Act funding.
That's correct, and that's to go for actually our O&M at our operations and maintenance at the airport. So that's money that can go towards insurance, utilities, any of those 56 expenditures that Brian has on a daily basis. Contract.
Okay. I think I got it all.
Okay.
So, Ron,
sorry.
you felt you were going to make a motion to pull these, or
you wanted to make a motion to hold both of those for 30 days.
Okay.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I just have a quick question, Jim.
Sure.
The airport itself, at the end of the day, what is that? Do we lose money? Do we make money? What is the final number at the end of the year if we did a P&L on it?
I do that every year for the airport committee. Usually we do break even, but the last couple of years we've actually had a surplus.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So we're going to hold those for 30 days. And we're going to move on now to finance resolution number 14. Okay. This is a resolution for section 5311, annual operating assistant grant application in the controllers department. Ron, did you want to discuss this with us at all? Give us a little background on this.
Yeah, this is just routine resolution that we do for 5311 operating assistant grant that we have to pass by resolution and send it to the Department of Transportation.
Okay. Anyone have any other discussion? Not.
I'll move it, Ray Stats.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Scalera.
Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Was 13?
First, is there, I think, PJ and Ron, did you guys have something you wanted to discuss also, or Matt, Mr. Chairman?
Is Rob's, Lopez's
Yes.
resolutions in here? I think that's
No.
what we wanted.
We have no resolution.
There's no, we have already passed the resolutions, PJ.
Oh, okay, that's right. I'm sorry. Okay. Rob, I think Rob wants to, we've already passed a resolution or for some of his grant money, and I believe we wanted to discuss that. So maybe Rob, can you speak to that? Rob Lopez?
Sure, PJ, thanks. So following the department head meeting, I figured it would be, in discussion of the county's financial or potential financial situation, I thought I would point out some of the grants that are going to expire throughout the year this year and what that would mean for the county as far as upfront money and then getting it out for reimbursement and received in. I can tell you that I usually voucher for reimbursement shortly right after the payment voucher is made out to minimize that time until we receive payment. And the first one and the most important part of the whole of all the grants is the radio tower project, which expires at the end of the year. And there's about $3 million that we still have to go out to pay for things that they're either in the works right now or things that are coming up. There are four other smaller grants that do not account for a lot of money, but the largest one, like I said, is the radio tower project. And so again, I thought I would bring this out just because of the potential financial situation.
Rob, I had a question for you on the tower. I know we negotiated the land deals for those, the rentals on them, the leases. And
Yeah.
where are we with? I see that we're going to order the tower itself, correctly? Is that was part of the tower and some equipment? That's what we're talking about, correct?
Yeah. So the radios there's already been purchase orders for those and a couple other items. What we have left are the shelters, the actual tower itself, and some of the site work that has to be done yet.
So have we been through before my concern is with the tower itself, has the planning and zoning boards approved those in those towns? Where are we with that, with the land use issues, you know what I mean?
So I'm working with the county attorney's office. Yeah, no, we've started that process, and I'm working with the county attorney's office for that.
I'm just bringing this out. A little bit of my concern is that if we don't even have zoning and planning approvals yet on these, and we're ordering this tower, we can get jammed on this.
Well, if that process is going to go, I've had conversation with the county attorney's office that there's some things that we can do for that. As far as getting jammed, I mean, if we did buy something and something fell out, we still would get reimbursed for the equipment that we purchase.
Okay. But would we have an issue with the tower that these towers are sized for specific areas, I presume, and would that be an issue if let's say that the lease deal didn't go through, or the lease deal went through from the owner perspective, but from the town perspective it didn't? Would that make that tower obsolete or have to be redesigned to fit another parcel, or another town?
No, not at all. All three towers are the same, and they could be configured for any property.
Okay, thank you. PJ, can you shed some light on, again, I know I sound like a broken record, but again, cash flow issues on this project. I mean, how does that Ron?
Right. I think, all right, Jim, I think the discussion's kind of centered around how long would it take to get reimbursed? And again, historically, in these type of instances, reimbursement has been very quick. Again, 30 to 45 days as far as reimbursement goes. And my opinion is, we did talk to Rob about a possible extension on these. And Rob, do you want to address that? I believe you said chances are we won't get an extension because you already received one.
Correct. And I would certainly be willing to try again, given the pandemic that's going on. Maybe that would help us. I don't know, but we can't wait too long, because then the project just won't be able to get finished. But I can do that during, I can inquire about that now. But like I said, I don't think there was a small chance that would even happen.
Okay. And again, my opinion is basically, we have money now that we can float to capital to cover this expense. And if we can get the reimbursement like we did historically, we can pay back the general fund before that crunch time comes in November, December, January. That would be my thinking.
Do we have we figured out a way yet for cash flow borrowing wise if we get jammed up? That's my concern right now. Do we have a way to purchase, to get some money if we needed to? Let's say this went wrong. We didn't get paid right away and we had to hold this longer. We got that money out. Do we have another way to borrow some money to help us along with this project?
We do have a way. It's called a RAN. And we do have a way. I've had discussions with the Bank of Greene County. I'm also in discussions with TD Bank. And I believe there's a couple other banks out there that would be willing to entertain that. Again, I have not taken it anywhere yet because we don't know. But there are discussions. The Bank of Greene County has committed, they would commit 10 to 15 million if we needed it.
Okay. So we have an avenue if we get ourselves in a position where some of these things don't come through, that we, it'll keep us going. That's my concern. I know we've put a lot into this. You know, Rob, you've done a good job, and everybody's worked a long years trying to get this thing together, and it's a shame to let it let it go. It does play a very important component in our county. So if PJ, you're okay with the cash flow issue, Ron Campanera, I was wondering where your standings are on this also.
I think it's going to be worse quicker than November and December. I think by midsummer to fall, we're going to be in a cash flow deficit. No question about it. From what I've been reading from NISAC and State Controller, it's not going to be pretty. That's my concern.
I'm not disagreeing with Ron whatsoever. All I'm saying is if we're going to lose this grant, we need to do this sooner versus later in hopes that we do receive our money back and get reimbursed before this cash crunch happens. That's my concern.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, you were talking about our budget committee meeting. Maybe this would be a primary thing we should discuss. Matt, did you hear me? You sleeping, Matt?
I had you on mute. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, my intent is to try to have a meeting early next week to have this discussion among others. We've got to look at some of the contracts that we're currently funding, and to see if we, as Ron had put forward and PJ put forward in the plan, to see if we can, start reducing those and give the agencies, enough notice so that they're aware that we're going to reduce it. But I think this is, would be a good discussion for the committee to have.
Yeah, I think that if we could go ahead, I don't know if somebody else is talking. If we can go ahead and maybe put this in with some of the other issues we got, and then try to make a decision based upon the most important things, which this is important, and work it out with cash flow and or borrowing if worse comes to worse. Maybe we should move this on to next week's meeting and then try to make that decision pretty quick.
Okay.
Okay, is there anyone else who wants to have any discussion on this?
Was 13 pulled? Resolution?
No, they voted on them both together, Rick.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So before we adjourn, is there anyone else who would like to bring anything else to finance or discussion while we're here? No? Okay. I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion, Sterling.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second. Good job, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, everyone stay safe, and we'll see you.
Good job,
Take
Jimmy.
care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Take care.